What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Bulls Latest. To kick off this Wednesday show, I want to do a Bulls Nuggets recap for you guys. The Nuggets came out on top last night, 124-117, in a valiant effort by Chicago. The Nuggets are expected to be one of the best teams in the NBA this year, especially with the addition of Cam Johnson. Now, let's recap this game. Again, Nuggets come out on top, 124-117. The Nuggets roll out a starting five of Aaron Gordon, Cam Johnson, Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Braun there. The Bulls starting five consisted of Matas Buzelis, Isaac Okoro, Nikola Vucevic, Ayo Dosunmu getting the nod in the starting five, and then Josh Giddey. We'll get into Ayo cracking the starting lineup here in a little bit, but I wanted to kind of just run through and talk about some of the standouts in terms of the Bulls box score. Obviously, when you watch this game, Josh Giddey stands out. He paced all Bulls with 25 points in 29 minutes of action. He shot 7 of 14 from the field and 3 of 7 from deep. Also pulled down 9 rebounds and dished out 6 assists in the losing effort last night. Matas Buzelis did add 20 points himself in 30 minutes of action on the floor. He shot 7 of 12 was 3 of 7 from beyond the arc, 3 boards, and threw out an assist as well. When you look at the Bulls bench, there were a number of contributors who did have an impact of some sorts. Zach Collins had 11 points in 17 minutes. Pat Williams had 9 points. He did play 25 minutes. Kind of going back to Billy Donovan's press conference yesterday, we're going to see Pat Williams get a lot of minutes, whether he gets the start or comes off the bench here. I think Pat Williams is still a big part of the plan for this young Bulls team. You had Dalen Terry scoring 11 points in 21 minutes of action. That came in large part due to Isaac Okoro not playing at all in the second half. We'll get to that in a bit as well. But Dalen Terry had 11 points in increased action there in 21 minutes. Javon Carter, another pleasant surprise off the bench. He led all bench scorers with 17 points in 22 minutes. Shot a solid 7 of 11 from the field and 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. He's had the 3-ball going pretty well throughout the entirety of this preseason. When you look at the Nuggets side of things, Jamal Murray led the way for Denver with 30 points in 27 minutes of action. He was 9 of 18 from the field and 2 of 8 from deep. Nikola Jokic also added 18 points on 7 of 10 shooting in 24 minutes of action. He did not attempt a three-pointer. So as of no surprise there, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray pacing the Nuggets in that stacked rotation that they have. Overall, though, I was surprised with the Bulls' solid effort. I think that they're, showing that they can really hang with anybody with the way they can score the basketball. I hope that continues as we roll into regular season ball here ahead of the preseason finale tomorrow night against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So kind of looking at and recapping the betting side of things, I gave you guys the over 233 as a solid play in this one, and we hit that bet again. That one goes over rather comfortably, finishing at 241 points there. I just think, there's going to be a lot of overs that are in play with these Bulls, games this coming season due to the Bulls' ability to score the basketball at will. I think the pace of play in any game that the Bulls contribute in are going to be, in a lot quicker paced games. I think you're going to see points go up in bunches. So we hit another wager there for you guys. The Nuggets narrowly cover the -5.5 there. That really was not as close as it seemed. The Bulls closed out on that as the fourth quarter ticked down, but my lean of the Bulls covering that spread did not come through. The stronger play of the over does come through for you guys. We'll continue to do that as more of a fun segment for any of you guys that are interested in playing, those games in the regular season and want to have some action on it. I will continue to make that a segment for you guys as really it's become a bigger portion of the NBA and really all of sports as it's getting legalized more and more across the country. So just a fun nugget there. When you look at, and I wanted to switch gears, it's a question that really I've been talking about in this show since the start of it in May, but the Bulls are really going to have to make a tough decision when it comes to Ayo Dosunmu and Coby White and which one of them they want to keep around. I know it's really early, but Ayo Dosunmu has been the Bulls' best player through 4 preseason contests. There's no denying that. Going back to a question I was posing really, back at the start of the show, like I was saying, we should really make a decision on who you want to keep around if you're the Chicago Bulls. And I know Bulls fans' decisions are going to vary depending on who you really pull for. It's tough because both of them are fan favorites. I think when you look at Ayo overall in the preseason, his play has really stood out. When you're looking at his contributions as a whole and then getting the start last night, it shows that Billy Donovan has so much confidence in this guy that he's able to plug him in to really any starting lineup that he desires. So that's a big piece for Billy Donovan moving into this season with the young team, kind of a cemented player in that starting 5, and a role that Ayo Dosunmu plays with this team is going to be continually increasing, I think. And I think that when Coby White is sitting out due to injury, hopefully this is just a minor injury. I know Billy Donovan kind of reiterated that, and then it's just more so getting him time to ramp up for the regular season opener next week. I think so there's nothing necessarily to be concerned about in terms of Coby's lack of preseason contribution. It's just getting him right for when the games actually start to matter here. I just think, when you look at Tre Jones, he had his jammed foot that we talked about. He should be able to try and give it a go in the preseason finale tomorrow night, but Ayo Dosunmu being able to just be able to be plugged into that starting lineup for Tre Jones is an awesome piece for this Bulls organization, I think, moving forward. It shows a lot of promise for what he can provide for this team moving forward as really a leader and a lead contributor on this roster. So difficult decisions definitely are ahead for this Bulls brass. It's not like they haven't had to make them before, but I think it'll be telling with how this season goes in terms of what they're going to do with a player like Coby White or Ayo Dosunmu. So we'll keep an eye on that. That's going to be something that kind of lingers throughout the entirety of the season. And then as we move closer to February's trade deadline, obviously things could really be shaken up if you're the Chicago Bulls. So we'll just have to wait and see. Excited to have both guys contribute to this Bulls team, though. I think they're both going to be leaders early on. So, wrapping up today's show, I wanted to just take a look at what's next for this Bulls team. We have the Minnesota Timberwolves coming to Chicago tomorrow night for the preseason finale. That'll take place at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. You could see that game broadcast on Chicago Sports Network, CHSN. It will be worth monitoring tomorrow if Okoro gets the start. He did not play the second half last night. As I talked about, Dalen Terry came in and played in his absence. So we'll look to see if Isaac Okoro is going to get any action ahead of the regular season kicking off. We do have a little bit of time, a couple of days before the regular season kicks off. I think it's Wednesday next week. So it wouldn't surprise me if they want to get a Okoro right along with Coby White, and Kevin Huerter is still kind of banged up, and then Tre Jones will have to watch that foot. So want to get these guys healthy, want to be a full go ahead of the regular season kicking off. Overall, though, a pretty encouraging performance once again. The Bulls now dropped to 500 in the preseason slate at 2-2, but I think there's a lot of good takeaways you can have when you look at the ups and downs of this roster. I think that it's going to be an exciting group to watch for the next couple of months here as we move towards that February trade deadline. So again, thanks for joining me on another episode of Bulls Latest today, guys, and we will catch you guys tomorrow.